shifting away from the pressure that is imposed on us by the military. Now, the only one that we seem to respect is a court order.
Okay.
That when the court order them to make it public, they will go ahead and make it, because by then their hands are tied. They will not. Definitely, these records are within the Petroleum Resources Department, and they will not want to freely give it to us. Like I said, not because of any other thing. They are also, he said something in reaction to the cancellation. Okay. He said it will not be politically wise to cancel it. They being at the helm of affairs, they know also the political implication of making it public, so that it will affirm the allegations already that are moving about within the polity. Okay. So they will want as much as possible to hoard the information until they see how the matter could die down. Unfortunately, it might not die down. So they have the facts. That's my reaction. They have the full facts. Okay.
Now, before you contribute, Mr. Government, now the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Godswill Akpabio, has also lent his voice to the agitations, okay, about some individuals actually make 4 billion naira a month from oil blocks. Now, that's not even the issue. Now, these individuals, I say, there's been reports about 20 of the the 20 richest oil wells belonging to a certain number, a certain, exclusive, people within the nation. And these people seem to be milking the nation dry. But what I'd like to get to is that shouldn't the DPR make known the process for acquiring an oil block? I mean, make it public so that we can actually assess those who have the right to own these oil blocks. Should you be somebody not in the oil sector, not into oil, not having expertise in oil, should not be owning an oil well? What do you say about that, sir?
Well, I think those who are interested in having oil blocks, they know the bidding process, they know the process. But for me, that is not the point. It's besides the process. But we know the abuses that go with the process. Now, you have what is called the right of first refusal, now, which goes along with the bidding process. Now, that has brought about a whole lot of abuses, even during the Obasanjo regime. Like I said, some credit to his regime, he tried to bring a lot of transparency into the process. However, you have this right of first refusal, which means that the government of the day, and there are some justification from the government, they give some concession, for example, to people who may be willing and are able to bring about some downstream infrastructure, investment in downstream infrastructure in power and other infrastructural development. That is part of their reasoning for giving some concession for some individuals and groups. However, this has been abused. It means that the president or whoever can still concession an oil block to whoever he or she wishes. So that is the fact. That is the real thing. So I don't think it's correct to say people don't know. If you were interested in getting an oil block tomorrow, you will access the information. I'm sure you will even get all the information you need on the internet. So it's not the issue. We need a more transparent process, which gives a level playing field to all those interested. If my friend is interested, he knows the right information to have, and he knows the documents to process, and proves his capability, to the committee. Or to those who are awarding it. So what is your technical capability? What is your financial capability? Okay. Are you able to do it? What is your wherewithal? If you have it and you are the highest bidder, when everything is considered, get it. Why have certain consideration to certain groups of individuals? And of all the concessions they have done, what infrastructure have we seen realized from such concessions?
Okay.
So we haven't seen it.
We've seen anything. We've not seen dividends from those who have been given those concessions. That's what Mr. Agemomen has pointed out, which is very crucial, because the areas that these oil blocks are owned have not benefited from, you know, the ownership and the exploitation. Okay, now look at agitations coming from lawmakers that the Minister for Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alison Madueke, is wielding too much powers, you know, to award an oil block to whomever. There should be some restrictions, you know, put on her. And what's your take on that? Can the PIB resolve this issue, Petroleum Industry Bill?
Now that is before the lawmakers, the next destiny or the fate of Nigeria with respect to oil prospecting in the next 50 years to come or thereafter, or the future of oil prospecting, is now before the National Assembly. So whatever they desire, based on their perception of what has been transpired, what has transpired thus far, they can make it, they can mend it, they can use the law that is before them. That's only time that they have the power, because the Constitution gives them the power to make the law. And now that that has been presented, a bill in that respect has been presented to them, they can do whatever they feel, and not to come out with criticism against the minister. Remember, the minister acts for the president. The president may wake up today and decide to remove the minister of petroleum.
Is an arm of the president.
It's just an arm, an assistant. And that's why he or she acts for and on behalf of the president. So if the president, we were here when Obasanjo became the president, did we have the Ministry of Petroleum? It was directly under him. He was also the president and also the Minister of Petroleum. We saw it happen. So in the same way, Jonathan may come up tomorrow and say, okay, I choose not to appoint. The same thing he might decide to do. The only thing is that it is a signature of Blocs Jonathan that you will see, other than that of the minister in this case. So that is what, like we said, let's go back. It's not even the procedure. Because those who drafted the policy for allocating, they knew very well that there should be a place for the president or the head of state, as it then was, to exercise some discretion in order to give some favors, no matter how you want to water it, to certain people, supposing that they have met the requirement. And that's where those rights of first refusal comes in, and he awards, and those people may not necessarily have the capabilities, and all that they do is they collaborate with others and give it out. So, but let us not criticize what the minister is doing now. What we should do is, now that the National Assembly has the opportunity to correct these anomalies, can they do it? Would they allow good sense or good reason to take the center stage and drop or minimize politicking? Because one of the reasons why they are doing it, with due respect to the members of the National Assembly, it's also an opportunity. Someone can see it as an opportunity for them to desire to be lobbied. Okay,
to be lobbied. Okay. Mr. Agemomen, well, do you agree with?
I think first, what is the PIB supposed to achieve? I mean, the PIB is supposed to actually bring a cohesion and discipline into the managerial, regulatory institutions that govern the oil industry. That's what the PIB is supposed to achieve. And it came about because of the real issues we have had and are having in the oil industry. Now, I think there are a few issues you mentioned or talked about, which I think I'm not sure he really addressed. The issue of how much power should the president have or the minister. Yes, the minister acts on behalf of the president. The question is, should the president have the power to allocate the wealth of the people, the commonwealth of Nigerians, to who he desires? That is the critical question. The answer is no. I agree. The PIB is before the National Assembly. They should take all the elements that are good, that are in the interest, hopefully they do, that are in the interest of the Nigerian people, anything that is not in the interest of the Nigerian people should be thrown out. Now, the key thing is we must begin to build institutions. So it's not about the presidency. It's about the regulatory institution for the industry. That is what needs to be strengthened, and not the power of the petroleum minister or the power of the president when it comes to the allocation of the commonwealth of the people. That is the key issue.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Agomem has made a very crucial point there, strengthening of institutions. Now, still on the issue, I'd like to take a quote from the director of the Department for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Austin Olorenshola, who said, further disclosing that the federal government is considering undertaking another bidding round for the country's marginal oil fields, while it will revoke licenses of some fields awarded in 2003. Now, he lamented the fact that 90 blocks awarded to indigenous players only account for 6% of the country's crude oil production. That is very deplorable. Now, 83 blocks awarded to foreign oil companies account for 94% of the country's total crude production. So what is the man saying here? He's saying that some people are just sitting on this thing, and the nation is not benefiting. They've not done any exploration. It's like they just hold on to these resources at the detriment of the nation. What's your take on that, Mr.?
So, I wanted to actually react to what he has said.
Okay.
See, talking about building of institutions, as far as the democratic system is concerned, or that we've started operating, it's good. And I always subscribe, and a good subscriber of systems, because that's what holds our polity. The president comes, the office of the president he will come and tomorrow he will leave, but we have these institutions and they are always there. Now, my concern is who is nominated or appointed into these institutions to man these institutions under our system. See, that's why I always reiterate, we are a growing democracy.
Okay.
There's always a tendency for he who appoints to tacitly or otherwise still controls whosoever is going there. So we may have a structure, we may have an institution that will be, even a board may come up and they may supposedly consider it to be an independent board to consider who and who not should be awarded an oil block.
So you're saying we should condone,
in the
condone this in
no,
the state?
We should not.
Okay.
We should not. But we should not also forget the fact that when you're talking about eroding the powers of the president altogether in determining who should come in under the democratic system, is it the National Assembly that you want to be? Remember, the president appoints whosoever comes into this institution, and then those people are under the current system. What happens when you talk about transparency? Those people, those appointees, are presented before the National Assembly for what? For approval. That's all that you know. But what is going on in the mind of the president as to why he wants Mr. A and Ms. B should be in that body or to man that institution, we would not know. And definitely tomorrow they will get back to Mr. President, even if they tend to operate an independent institution for the betterment of the people. I pray that we get to that. But even if we want it now, it may not come watertight. That's one thing we should not forget.
So you're saying we shouldn't be hasty? We should tread with...
gradually.
I think Nigerians seem to have run out of patience.
Absolutely. We've run out of patience.
Patience is a luxury lots of Nigerians.
In other words, you have no issues with the things that are happening right now, because Nigeria is a growing democracy. We have to go slow. You don't want the power of the president to be eroded or that of the minister to be eroded. They appoint these people, so whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. That is what I get from you, but I completely disagree. Let's go back. We have to begin to build institutions. When there are policies and procedures that are put in place, and hopefully the PIB takes care of some of these things. It is not should not be the business of the president to award oil blocks or to concession oil blocks. It should be the decision of the regulatory body that is empowered to conduct a fair bidding process with clear, transparent rules for all who are interested to follow. So let's forget about this. We're a growing democracy. For how long will you grow? Look, the other countries, smaller countries, are doing things better than we are. Look at Ghana. Let me just tell you, it's something extraneous to what we are discussing. Something came out yesterday where the Archbishop of one of the churches turned down an offer by the president to take some of his church members to Israel on pilgrimage. Look, the guy said, look, listen, it is fine, but please let us save the state's resources to better the lives of our people, rather than using government resources to sponsor people on pilgrimage. So let's be very careful. We must hold our governments and our institutions to high standard. The era of keep compromising and allowing them to do what they do should be over. And I'm really serious about this. We shouldn't keep compromising and accepting our government officials to do what they like and use our commonwealth for their own benefit, and we accept that.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ekpo, the question I asked you earlier was that should dormant oil blocks are there?
Good.
Should they be revoked? And that is the question.
Definitely, because the essence of awarding or allocating oil blocks is for prospecting purposes, and the intent is, the final analysis is that the Nigerian people, or it should enhance, like he says, the revenue of this country and the infrastructural development of the country. It should be for the betterment of the generality of the people. And so if a favorite or a beneficiary of an oil block had failed to make good use of it, which means the parameters for awarding that oil block to that person in the first place is glaringly clear that it was misplaced. So such oil blocks, because it is dormant and the person cannot come and argue to the contrary, it should be revoked so that some other person who can put it into use, and the resultant effect is the benefit to the entire Nigeria, should pick it up, whether it's in Nigeria. Just like we say, we support the fact that Nigerians should pick it up, but you cannot hold it. And because I know that most of them actually take it because they want to see how they can collaborate either with indigenous or foreign bodies, and most of them, they have not come to that point where they could click, and that's why that's what gives an account for the dormant oil blocks. Most of them, they've been able to collaborate with, and theirs have been put to use. But anyone that after a period of time, and I think one of the clause that the new law should bring into being is upon issuance of an allocation letter, within a certain period of time, you are expected to have started prospecting for oil with that your license, and after that period of time, it should be revoked. With that, I believe whosoever is going to be a beneficiary, they will be on their foot, on their toes to do what is necessary with whatever is given to them. So if that is the report that is coming, it's not encouraging, and I will subscribe that such oil blocks that are dormant should be revoked, and others should benefit from it. All right,
thank you. Now, Mr. Agemomen, do you think it's a coincidence that the people that actually reside where this oil is prospected don't even come into the fray when you talk of ownership of oil blocks? Is it a deliberate attempt to keep these people,
it's not a coincidence. It just shows the flagrant abuse of those in power of our processes and procedures, and a complete disregard to the people of the Niger Delta. We know the history of the Niger Delta struggle. We know Mosop and, of course, Ken Saro-Wiwa. He was hanged because of the struggle. The environment has been completely degraded. And that also led to all the agitations.
Even the UN report has not been implemented so
absolutely.
far.
That led, of course, to all the agitations a few years ago with MEND and the amnesty and all that. But the question is, yes, none of them, South person or many South people do not have oil blocks. But the question is, what are we really doing to the South-South right now in terms of development? We hear of efforts to do this, to do that. Many years have passed since the amnesty. Are the South-South people better off now? By the end of this regime, would they be better off than they were 5 years ago? The answer is no. There may have been a little incremental infrastructural development, but does that mean that they are really better off? The answer is no. So it has been deliberate, unless to the contrary, we are told that actually you have a lot of people from the South-South that have oil blocks.
All right. Okay. Yeah. While this argument continues now, there has been stiff opposition to the petroleum industry bill, especially from the northern senators, on grounds that some of its provisions would favor oil-producing regions. Now, they rejected the section 116 to 118 of the bill, which stipulates that oil companies, 10% of their net profits to the host communities. Yeah. Now, Mr. Ekpo, can you give us your opinion on this?
Yeah, before we get even there, I wanted to react to what he also said. See, in considering the number of people from the south that owns oil blocks that are operating, my concern is not the number. Just like if I want to consider in the north, I'm not considering the number. What has their ownership? What is the impact of their ownership to the people from where they are coming from, be it on the south, from the south or the north? You discover that in the final analysis, it's a personal issue. It's for their own personal interest. Now, people are ready to go out and die. We are agitating. There are agitation all over. The north owns this day. So get to the north and you discover that there is a poverty-stricken environment. Why? Because this wealth goes into the pocket of a few. The same way, the ones that are in the south, a few get it. Now, if the PIB will help us to fix it, the issue is, if you're going to send these funds, just like now we have under the derivation formula, the funds that goes into the oil producing states. The question is, if you go there, sincerely speaking, how much have they done? Can you say the governors now, they have done so much to account for the amount of allocations that are gone to them? In the same vein, if we are not able to take care of that question, when the PIB is finally passed into law and it becomes operational, the same thing will continue to go around the cycle, because now the indigenous community, they know that at the end of every month, so amount of money is coming to us. What you will see on the increase is what? Internal crisis. As to how this, except of course we are coming out with another formula as to the management of this money, a transparent structure that will bring about the management of this money, so that it will not end up in the hands of political leaders, because for now they are never accountable and they have not been held accountable, so they continue to siphon our funds. So putting it in the new law is a good thing, but let's put a structure in place as to how that money can be maximized for the betterment of the current and future, Nigerians that will come up from that region.
Mr. Ekpo has taken us back, but with a good reason. What do you think about that, Mr. Ekpo?
No, I think it's, I can't contest what he has said. The point is, which he's making, is looking at the resources that have come to the governors or the governments of the South-South states. How much have the people benefited? It's a crucial question, and we mustn't shy away from finding a solution to that, but we can't in a debate like this. We know what the issue is. The issue is corruption, corruption. That is the bane of the Nigerian society. It is not only about the South-South governors, it is about at the different levels of government. So we should not reduce the argument to, yes, the South-South governors have received more allocation. The issue of corruption is an issue that we need to address in the nation. And until we address that, we are not going to make progress. So you can allocate more money. It doesn't necessarily mean that it translates to a better life for the people. But having said that, it is only fair that
No,
the people.
Let what you're about to say
Yeah.
be a solution to the situation.
Yeah.
You're preferring a solution right now.
Yeah, the solution is that we must, as Nigerians and as government of Nigeria, must address the issue of corruption head on.
Okay.
Until we do that, and look, it's not just the government.
Okay.
Let's be fair. It's about us, the people. Now, we celebrate these same corrupt politicians in our communities.
Okay.
They are our heroes in their villages.
Okay.
And when any of them get arrested by EFCC, you see some phantom protest by the same people you are trying to save from poverty, because these people have mismanaged their resources. So it's about us as Nigerians looking at the issues of corruption more seriously and not through primordial lenses or whatever.
Okay.
If we don't do that, the corruption will continue to remain with us. And I keep saying, corruption is not about at the federal or state level. It's about all of us that live in different areas of life.
Okay.
It's prevalent right now, so we must tackle it.
Okay, Mr. Barrister Ipo, please, I just want you to, in just a nutshell, a sentence, just round up on this issue and the solution to the way forward.
I will align myself with what he has said.
Okay.
Take care of corruption.
In totality.
And our future is set to go to places as a country.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, we've exhausted all our time. This issue here is really a critical one, very engaging, and I hope definitely you enjoyed everything that we've been talking about, and I hope it's been enlightening for you, talking about the issue of Nigeria's oil block allocation and regulatory controversies. It's so much has been said by my two guests here. I want to thank Mr. Julius Agemome, Managing Director, Brand Life Limited Marketing Consultant and a social expert, for coming on the show. Thank you very much, sir. And I also want to thank Barrister Amiyi Clement Ekpo. It's been a great one having you here on the show. Two distinguished gentlemen with a wealth of knowledge, which I hope you've benefited from today on The Agenda. Well, until I meet you on another time, another interesting day, when we bring you another engaging topic, my name remains Henry Williams. Remember, it's not about people, it's about institutions, strengthening institutions and continuing the fight against corruption. Stay blessed until we see you next time.
So it's not the Constitution that is a problem per se, but those that are supposed to interpret it and then administer it.
See, what we're saying is that people should be passionate about their job. We should have people that love this country.
People say, you know what, we don't want deregulation of petroleum products. We want the subsidy to continue. We want our refineries to be prepared. But you go talk to somebody who runs or works in one of these refineries, they will tell you why those refineries can never work.
There is a present and real danger for the corporate existence of Nigeria. Generally, this government is considered as weak.
It should not be so. If we remain like that, then we will remain in socio-economic and political thraldom.
So when you talk about passion, the people ruling us, they are not passionate.
Well, let's take
the House of Rep is not passionate. The senators are not passionate. That's why they are discussing without doing anything. Which sacrifice are they going to offer?
In Nigeria, governance is not about servanthood. Governance in Nigeria is about what can I get.